Here we are with beekeeper Julia Nasso, and we're just going to ask her a few questions about her experience as a beekeeper. The first one, tell me how you got started in this field. What was your education like? What educational background or related experience might be helpful in entering this field?
Well, it all started when I was a little girl. I always had the passion for bees. There's something about their buzzing and energetic character that attracted me to bees. There was never a point in my life when I was ever scared of them. In my eyes, as long as you don't irritate them, they will do no harm to you. I decided to become a beekeeper for my occupation and have fallen in love with the job ever since then. I got my high school diploma and studied the environment for the next 2 years, which is when I decided I wanted to become a beekeeper. There are no specific qualifications of becoming a beekeeper, but I am constantly reading new books about the facts on bees and learning new things about bees and that there can never be too much. My intention for working as a beekeeper is for the income as a commercial operator because there is a great number of colonies to maintain.
Wow, that's so interesting. Now, a bit about your work environment. What are the working conditions here in your work environment? Which skills and abilities are utilized in this work? And most of all, what are the daily duties of your job?
Okay, beekeepers help bees take care of themselves. They provide bees with hives for shelter, medications, and, as needed, new queens. Notwithstanding the care that beekeepers provide, it should be pointed out that bees manage to take care of most of their own needs fairly well. In the springtime, I start a new hive. My job is to feed the bees, harvest honey from the hives, harvest the honeycomb that was not used over the winter. In the summer, it is my task to harvest all the honey being produced by the bees. I always need to keep a close eye out for them to make sure everything is working smoothly. In the fall, it is a collection time for the honey and making sure the bees are all ready for the winter. It is also time to harvest the honey and ensure there is a great amount of ventilation for the bees to survive in the winter. In the winter, it is time to gather all of the bees and help the bee colony get settled for the next year. I also sell honey that I harvest and make a great deal of profit from the sweet honey.
So, as far as problems go, Julia, what are the toughest problems that you have to deal with? What are the problems that your organization as a whole have to deal with, and what is being done to solve these problems?
Okay, beekeepers are battling insects, black bears, diseases, honey exports from China, and other problems. They are faced with even larger disease and pest problems, including the infestation of 2 types of mites that have destroyed large portions of the bee populations in the 3 states. The number of colonies declines. The natural controls that help bees resist the worst problems of disease are, as well with animals, a combined result of the work and their immune system, their biology, their behavior, and their environment. Strict sanitary conditions are an essential aspect of the bee's health.
What do you find most rewarding about this work, besides the money?
Okay, so beekeeping is rewarding for me because it is my form of relaxation and escape method from all my stress. I am greatly fascinated and intrigued by their doing.
What salary level would a new person start with? What are the fringe benefits, and what are other forms of compensation?
Income for a beekeeper is based on experience, education, and type of employment. There is an average salary of $52,000 for beekeepers. Part-time or hobbyist beekeepers may average around $20,000 per year, generally tending to their bees on nights and weekends while primarily holding a job in another field.
So, Julia, where do you see yourself in the next couple of years? What are your long-term goals for beekeeping?
Well, I believe I will successfully open up my own beekeeping association and sell a great amount of honey that I've harvested over the years.
Is turnover high in beekeeping? How does one move from one position to another? And do people normally move from one association to another as well in beekeeping?
Turnover typically is not high in this industry because you work for yourself and therefore the individual to be his or her own boss, and once the basic equipment and the bees are purchased, it is their duty to maintain the bees. There isn't only one position as being a beekeeper, which is to harvest the bees and create honey. There are not normally people moving around in the company or division or agency unless there is a discrepancy between the owner and the way the employees does his or her duties.
So, Julia, what trends do you see for this industry in the next 3 to 5 years? What kind of future do you see for the organization, and how much business is tied to the economy and government spending as well as weather and suppliers?
Well, I believe that in the next 3 to 5 years, the beekeeping industry will decrease because of technologies are replacing the jobs of beekeepers. All of my business is tied to the economy because we depend on consumerism. The weather is also a strong factor in beekeeping because it controls the daily harvesting.
Now, Julia, give us some future advice for future beekeepers. How well suited is your backyard for beekeeping?
Typically, my backyard is not the ideal place to be beekeeping because there is a limited space and the environment surrounding is not ideal.
What type of employers hire people in this line of work? Where are they located? And what are other career areas do you feel that are related to your work?
Candidates for this job must be looking for a challenge and be able to demonstrate knowledge and experience in all aspects of the commercial beekeeping. Training can be provided for the right candidates. In order to become a beekeeper, you need to have some basic equipment before purchasing bees. Jobs similar to beekeeping, such as a farmer or a company owner, allows all individuals to be his or her own boss, and once the basic equipment and bees are purchased, there is relatively little overhead to interfere with profits. If you like working outside, obviously beekeeping is 90% outside work, the only inside part of the job is the paperwork associated with the accounting needs of the business, then perhaps you should consider beekeeping.
So tell me a bit about hiring decisions, such as what are the most important factors that are used to hire people in this field? Education, past experiences, special social skills, as well as personality. Who makes the hiring decisions in your department? Who is the supervisor of the boss? And when I'm ready to apply for a job, who should I contact?
Okay, in Canada, 80% of honey beekeepers are full-time commercial beekeeper, the majority of which can be found in Alberta, Manitoba, Ontario, and Quebec. Beekeepers need to have knowledge of the yearly life cycle and habits of bees. They need to be good bee handling skills so that they know when and how to approach bees. They need to have knowledge of plant types and life cycles and how and when plants produce nectar. They need skills identifying bee diseases and knowledge of methods of disease control. They also need knowledge of how to extract and assess the quality of bee products such as honey pollen and royal jelly. Carpentry skills for building and repairing hive boxes. Hire a Hive is a unique initiative which offers environmentally conscious business owners with an opportunity to make a real difference, which will appeal to those customers who actively seek out businesses who really do care about the future of our planet. Contact any small or large corporation in order to apply for a job. You'll need to go to any organization and submit your past experience as a beekeeper.
In the job market, how do people find out about your jobs? Are they advertised in the newspaper, on the web, or by word of mouth?
Typically, beekeeping jobs are discovered through the word of mouth as well as on the web. Like any other job, there are job postings on the internet websites that list the prerequisites and allow you to apply for the job.
When referring to other information about beekeeping, can you name a relevant trade journal or magazine that you would recommend I review?
I'd recommend you to review the National Geographic magazine. This magazine provides information about the environment and it inspires people to care about the planet.
Thank you so much for your time, and I do really
No
appreciate
problem.
it.